Well, hello. It's time now to consolidate my European night crawlers into one worm bin. I got one batch of European night crawlers from Uncle Jim's Worm Farm, and I also got a batch of European night crawlers from Northeast Worms back in the past. I'm going to go ahead and put some bedding in. This is my new tote. I didn't use a drill for these holes. I'm going to give them some cardboard bedding. This is eggshell cartons and the carry-out totes that you get from like McDonald's and stuff. So that's going to go right here. Let the water sit out. I'll let the water sit on this cardboard for a while, for about a day. It's non-chlorinated water. Here we go. Now it's time to look at the worms that I'm going to put in there. Let's take a peek inside the first worm bed and see what's going on. So many castings, it's crazy, that have to be sifted. So these worms are to the point where there was really no help for them, because like I said, there is no bedding inside of this tote. So I'm going to just start taking all these worms out and placing them into this other tote. I'm going to put these castings on one side and keep the fresh bedding on the other side. So let me take care of that. For now, with this tote being so big, I only took out half the castings and placed them into the other bin. Then I'm going to look into this other bin and see how these worms are doing and put half of those worms in there. And then I'm going to put half of the castings in this worm bin. Then I'm going to harvest these castings. If you pick up what I'm saying, or you're picking up what I'm throwing down, let me know in the comments box below. But right now, let me look at the other worm bin to see how those worms are doing. All right, let's see what this worm bin looks like. This one has more bedding in it. So I'm going to add half of this bedding into the other worm bin. So let me take care of that. So for this worm bin, I have half the worms from the first worm bin and half the worms in the second worm bin. But I'm not going to feed this one until tomorrow because I got some food thawing out. But for now, what I'm going to do is use this worm bin that had the worms in it. Add the first worm bins into this worm bin because this worm bin is sturdier. And then after that, I'm going to bait the worms out of this worm bin so I can put all the worms into the new worm bin. So I hope you got all that, what I'm saying. But that's my process for now. That's what I'm doing. I consolidated down to 4 worm bins. So that's what I'm going to do. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. So that's how I'm downsizing my worm bins to become just 4 worm bins with red wiggers and a blue worm mix. with the diversion inclusion worm bin, the red wiggler only worm bin, and the European night crawler worm bin, aka the Euros. So that's it for now, and here's another video.